BowmanDigitalMedia.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday. It's Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman and my guest, Tammy Collins. Tammy, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. You and I have been connected and friends on LinkedIn for quite a while. You have been absent, my friend, for a while, so I'm sure we'll get into that. Yeah. But you are in the marketing space. In fact, looking at your resume, you've got a lot of marketing experience, which is neat because you're not old. So you have a lot of experience without being old. How about that? I like to step on. Anyways, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about your transitioning, what's going on in your life. We're going to talk about your business. We're going to talk about a lot of marketing and give people some tips. You and I have some out of the box thinking that actually aligns. So how about that? We're out of the box together. And so we'll share some of that stuff. I look forward to it. You have this thing where you like to be blunt. And actually, I like that too. So let's not sugarcoat this. If y'all have marketing questions for us, get them in because I have a feeling that this is going to go pretty quick. Bertus, welcome to the show, my friend. Bertus is coming by way of Scottsdale, Arizona, but he's originally from South Africa. So if you don't know Bertus, everybody, get with Bertus. He actually runs a company called Bloomrock Partners, and they help businesses reduce their expenses. It's like it's a no-brainer, I think. I'm going to put this up real quick. We've got, if you've got comments for the show, join in the conversation. And how are you going to do that? What you're going to do is you are going to put your questions for the show in the comments, and Tammy and I are going to do our best to answer them, but we are going to try to follow first in, first served. So a little FIFO going on there for you. Which, anyways, that's all business. I like acronyms. It helps me remember stuff.
All of my offers are acronyms too.
There you go.
Helpful, right?
Yeah, I think so. 100%. Yeah. Let's do this, Tammy. For those of you who are not familiar with Tammy Collins, let's do this. Let's start with who is Tammy Collins.
Ooh, I have this new thing that I've been talking about. It's kind of like an onion. I hate that to use an onion, but it's a great example, right? Because I feel like this applies to myself and everyone. We are not just one single thing. We all have many, many layers to who we are, what makes us, what we're good at, and why we do it. I am what I consider to be a creative, intuitive visionary. That's kind of like a mouthful and really hard for most people to sort of comprehend what that is. But I'm a serial entrepreneur who has, started businesses, I think 10 in total. I've developed product lines, magazines. I've worked with universities and nonprofits and a wide array of businesses, small and large. My favorite space is the entrepreneurial space because they don't have access to higher level marketing knowledge and expertise. They can't afford it. It's out of reach. And that's where my passion lies, because I spent so many years struggling through all of that. So that's how I ended up
So
sort of focusing on entrepreneurs.
I have a question for you. I was just
Sure.
gonna get into what is the okay, so you've done 10. Not all of look, I know this for a fact. Not all of those were winners. What was the
Sure.
one
Of course.
that that I hate to say flop. That might not be the right word, but you know what I mean? What was the one that like didn't make it, and what lessons did you learn from that help you moving forward?
Sure, absolutely, right? So the way I talk about it is some were a great success and some weren't a success. And some of those weren't necessarily because the element failed. In all instances, I feel that I failed. And that's because I either didn't have the knowledge or didn't know what I was doing. So the one I'd like to talk about in that instance would be my first one that I started really, really young. And that was I developed a line of cleaning products and skincare, soap and things of that nature that were all natural and chemical, uh, harmful
Yeah.
chemical free.
So
And
good
so,
idea. A good
yeah, so,
idea.
right. And I developed that and I was selling that through home shows and I had a lot of repeating clients, but I did not know at that time in my life how to go
Sorry, I'm
journey.
waving at people as they say hi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
I
I do
didn't.
that. I do that because we get people. They're gonna say hi as they join, and I'm like, I always try to
Oh,
do that.
sure. Sure. I didn't know how to go from that space into full on production, right? I was like 23 years old, so I didn't have a clue. But that would be the one that I would answer there.
Well, it's funny. We actually have that. I don't know how old you were when you did that because you said you were young.
Like
Uh, 20. I'm sorry,
23.
23. Okay. So I actually started a business even younger than that. I was 20. If I remember it. I might have been 19. I was either 19 or 20. I was going to sell welding supplies
Hmm.
to manufacturers and arc welding sticks, for those of you who are familiar with the
Yeah,
welding.
I'm actually really familiar with welding. My father is a welder.
There you go. Yeah, so there's TIG welding and then there's arc welding. Anyways, I was selling the arc welding supplies. In fact, I called the name of the business, I called it Weld Tech because I was there in Silicon Valley, technology and welding, and even like companies like Apple. I sold products to Apple when I was 19 or 20 years old. So I it wasn't that I had trouble getting the business off the ground. The problem was the mistake that I made. The source where I was getting it from
Hmm.
was not cost competitive for the
Hmm.
market. So the mistake that I really made was not doing my due diligence before jumping in. I was excited to sell. I knew the product was needed, so I had a couple of the components right, and I had the energy.
Yeah.
What I didn't have was a big enough bankroll, and I didn't have the smarts.
Right.
I wasn't educated back then in
Right.
college. People go, what do you learn in college? You learn a lot, actually,
Yeah.
if you do this thing right. And
Yeah.
so I learned how to do analytics, and I learned how to do research. And looking back, now I know that those things are actually important. But anyway, I got started. That was my first venture. It was a total flop, but anyways, my bad. Okay, so now you run TammyCollins.com, right?
Yeah, it's TammyLCollins.com. Yep. And I focus on branding, marketing, and social media. And the way that I sort of frame it is that I'm kind of a triple threat. And the reason that I say that is because most marketing people only specialize in one arena or one area, or their knowledge is only so broad. But
100%.
because of my background, because of my education, and because of the people that I've been able to work with, my experience and education is extremely broad. So
Yep.
I know many different buckets, and that makes me much more powerful than a typical marketer. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's
No,
just
I
that
get
I
it.
have such a volume of knowledge and expertise.
Well, it's funny because it seems like you're going to hear this expression more and more, almost at nauseum these days. Oh, you got to niche down,
Yeah.
niche. Even my wife and I were having a little bit of a disagreement, in full disclosure, the other day because I'm getting ready to buy another drone. She's like, do you really need to offer all these services to your customers? And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to offer all my services to everybody. That's where I've niched down.
Yeah.
But the services that I offer, because I'm like you, the variety of these services is what make me different. Like I said, you and I think out of the box, but we think out of the box kind of in the same way.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I would be willing to bet that most people who are going to watch this video, because we actually don't have a huge audience today, and I'm not sure what's going on with that, but usually we have more people. So I'm going to promote this on my website. We'll make sure a lot of eyeballs see it. But the people that watch, a lot of them don't even know what branding really is. They certainly, I think, don't understand marketing, which is the whole point of the show. Right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I think the one that people understand the most just inherently is social media. But I don't think that most people know how to use social media to actually make money or grow their business, right? So you are doing a lot of what I'm doing at Bowman Digital Media, which I respect, and that's why you're here, by the way. I didn't just invite everybody who I know that's in the marketing world. Is like, you know what I mean, had some qualifications, and you were one of the first people I reached out to. So let's do this. If you don't mind, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, go ahead.
That's what we're here for. Just talk maybe a minute or two about the 3 different buckets and how you at Tammy Collins help people with those individual buckets so that people can kind of picture how this all comes together. Because it's a giant tree, right? The whole point of this is to make the business that you're working for successful. There's a big tree and there's parts of the tree, and each one of these help in different ways.
Yep.
So, let's just softball this up for you. I have your website open. If you want me to click on anything and show people stuff, just tell me where to go and I'll navigate there.
So first, 2 things, clarification. First, let me get some legal things out of the way. Just a joke there, but so first of all, everything I say comes from my opinion and it's based on my experience and my education where I am at my point. Not everybody is always going to agree about things. So first and foremost, I wanted to say that. Second thing I want to tell you is that my website went up as a beta test. If you go to my website, the only thing on there is what you're looking at.
Oh, okay. So there's not much.
You can only book an appointment with me, and that's it.
Okay.
I did that because it was my methodology for teaching marketing is super simplification. So I put some of my own tactics out there to test them. So I put that website up as strictly a beta test. It's worked so well, I haven't touched it.
Well, hey, if it works, they say keep it simple, stupid. Don't fix something that ain't broke.
Right. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. I'm actually about to do a whole video on that and sort of go public and talk more about that and the results and whatnot.
Yeah.
So to answer your question more specifically, the branding, the marketing, and the social media.
Yep.
The bigger picture is that part of my whole branding is about a bee and a honeycomb. And the reason that is because if you think about a honeycomb infrastructure, each of those combs are interdependent on the other. So if one of them is weak, the rest of the comb around it becomes weak and you don't have a thriving hive. So that's why branding, marketing, and social media go together in that order. You cannot have success in your marketing if your branding isn't rock solid.
Right.
And I know that there are people out there that will argue with me all day long about this, but this is why I have such success, because I make people backpedal and fix the real problems.
Right. And now let's just hit the pause button real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to come up with a marketing campaign if you don't have a logo, right? So your branding, you got to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
So that we can put up. We'll fill this part in later.
The way I like to talk about branding, I have 2 sort of, examples that I use. I do a lot of speaking, by the way. So I do a lot of presentations and I'm kind of comical and entertaining because I use weird analogies and things of that nature. So one of the analogies that I like to use is to think about, I love like a Mustang, right? That's one of my favorite cars, right?
I just looked at a brand new Mustang just a minute ago at the store.
Yeah.
$47,000. So.
Yeah, I don't have one. It's just one of my favorite cars. But my point is if you associate branding to a car, your favorite car, a car that you like, there are things about that car that resonate with you in particular. It may not be your favorite car, or it may not resonate with you. Mm-hmm. Now, when you talk about branding, most people will go, oh, I have a logo, or I have a color, or I have a mission statement. Well, that's the equivalent of saying you have the steering wheel of the car.
Right. I have a leg,
You don't have
I
the
have an
rest
arm.
of the car.
Right.
Right? So when you get into a Mustang, it's an experience. There's a million little details that go into that experience and that feeling that you walk away with after you drive the car. That impression, that feeling, that emotion, what's left on the person when they're done interacting with the car, that's branding. So now if you take that and equate that to your business, right? Your website, your presence, all of that stuff is the car. Are all of those details creating the same experience so that when your customer is done talking with you or seeing you or engaging with you and they walk away, do they have a succinct, consistent feeling?
And
That's
that's
really what branding is. It's kind of an intangible.
so then at Tammy Collins, one of the things you're doing is helping people line all that stuff up.
Well, even more importantly, what I'm doing is my niche is connecting your passion and being able to turn that into a brand.
Okay.
So I'm taking it even more specific. Most people, one of the reasons that they can't kind of figure it out is because they're they're not quite connected with what their passion, what their purpose is, what they're supposed to be doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and isn't it hard to succeed in life when you're doing something you don't thoroughly love?
Yep.
Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you all. I was working last night till midnight on my birthday. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Not only was it a Sunday night, it was my birthday, and I worked probably, I don't know, my wife's sitting here, she can probably tell you better than I can how many hours I worked, but I worked at
How many
least
hours were you awake?
I think I worked at least 12 hours yesterday. I mean, and I'm not joking. That's my day off. But why? A, A, I have work to do, and B, I love
That's what
it.
you
You know
do.
what I mean? Like
Right.
it's work, but it's not work. If that makes sense.
Well, there's no separation, right? When you really love what you're doing, it isn't work. It's not a job. It's what you live and breathe. So,
I create art. I create art. I was editing a video, so I had, like you're saying, I had to build the branding graphics out so that it fit the look and feel of what they already have established. So
mhm,
when they take this video, they can put it on their website and it'll match everything that's there. I mean, that's the goal, right? So
yeah,
that's what I was doing. But my art style isn't necessarily that. So I had to adjust things to fit there.
right,
You
right.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, a good designer will be able to be a chameleon, right? And then that's another important thing about branding that I think a lot of people miss or get wrong. If you're working with someone in branding and that person is telling you what your brand is supposed to be, that's a problem, right? I believe that if the work is done correctly, your brand will reveal itself, right?
Hmm.
There's a big difference. And so that tends to be a little bit of a problem because some people that I work with will say, "Oh, well, I hired somebody to do branding and they told me blah 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 blah. This is what my logo should be, this is what my colors should be." And when we do the real work, because I use a lot of psychological tools to dig in and find out what's really supposed to be happening, and they didn't do that. And it's quite powerful, the end result. And the biggest intangible, it's really kind of I don't know if you'd consider it an intangible or not, but the confidence level that my clients get is through the roof
Yes.
because they suddenly know what their super suit is. They can
Yeah.
put on their
The
superhero
buy-in.
cape and
Yeah.
they can take off. They finally get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 100%. All right. So that's branding, sort of. I mean, we can talk about just branding. Now let's take another bite of the apple because this is just as much, if not even more. So now you do
All right.
branding. Everything we just said, like if you need help, Tammy's available, y'all. You can give her help. You know what we should probably do? We should probably just clarify. Everybody has like a set of people that they feel the most comfortable with, they work with the best. What is your target client or your best client? What does that look like?
It's very interesting. They tend to be women. They tend to be very secure in the fact that they know they're either ready to ditch the corporate space and do their own thing,
Yeah.
or they have tried to do their own thing for a couple of years with some success, but can't quite figure out what that like they feel like something's missing and they're kind of stuck a
I
little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. So they're stuck somewhere between first, second year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any specific industries, or it doesn't really
I have
matter?
worked in so many industries. I mean, therapists, doctors, interior designers, builders, the energy space, hypnotists, artists,
So
coaches.
mostly
Yeah,
service type businesses, it sounds like.
yeah. I mean, I've worked with nonprofits. I've worked with universities, colleges.
Education, the
I
whole
mean, quite a
gamut.
bit of, yeah. I love to do some corporate work. I love to do interactive education, if you will. It's very powerful for getting their team on brand, which
Yeah.
people realize is their biggest asset. So
100%. All right. Sorry, I just had to, I was thinking, you know what, we're talking about this. We're going to get people excited to work with you. Let's tell them who you serve best. I should
yeah.
have done that first. Sorry. I'll be good at this hosting thing probably by the time I stop, right?
Yeah, you're pretty good, Ira. You're pretty good. So marketing, right? You wanted to
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So marketing, I tend to piss a lot of people off with this. I apologize if it's right up front about it, but
No, we're not here. We're not here to make friends. We're here to tell
yeah.
people. I mean,
So marketing to me is the most misunderstood and misused term known to man right now.
it seems like it's ambiguous for some reason. Like, no, it's not. This is not mystical. Marketing is really a thing. You can really study what it actually is and define it clearly.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about sales like it's marketing? It's not the same thing. They
Right.
work hand in glove, but they're not the same.
Right. So for me, marketing is a concept, right? Marketing itself is really only the act of testing. That's all it really is. You're testing the vehicle you use and what you're communicating. So whether you're communicating your brand message or you're a campaign or whatever it is, you're just testing that in a vehicle, whether it's print, email, digital, whatever it is.
Yeah,
That's
any way that you reach out. Now, the only thing I would add to that, just so that you and I have the same idea, and we can debate this if you like, but the testing includes the results, right? So you run the test. Well, first
well, that's data strategist.
Yeah, so we formulate it, we run it or test it or whoever, and then we analyze what happens so that we can it's almost like a science experiment, right?
Exactly.
So what we're doing is we're creating a theory, we implement the theory, we
Right.
analyze the theory, and then we revise, if needed, the theory and do it again.
Right. So the problem that I have and why I say that it's so misunderstood is because it's become a catch-all, right? So companies are kind of intimidated in a way about it, right? Because it's this big concept and so many things kind of fall under it, that even like when they'll post jobs and things of that nature related to it, they cram everything they can into that role, right? Let's just take a crude example. A graphic designer, fabulous at what they do, but they are not a data strategist. And to expect
100%. They don't deal with spreadsheets at all.
right. And then they sit there and go, well, my marketing's not working. Well, of course it's not going to work.
Because you have pretty pictures doesn't mean you're good at marketing, guys.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, actually, we can run pretty good marketing campaigns with quality graphics. Just gonna tell you that right now.
Right. As long as it speaks to the audience,
right,
that's all that matters, right?
100%. I had to teach people that in the print business. This is actually what used to frustrate me because I would go as the print guy. I wasn't the marketing guy. I was the print guy. And I would work with these business owners on, the print graphics. I didn't really get into the marketing stuff for the most part in the beginning, but I had to start inserting myself into the marketing stuff because they were spending all this money on these beautiful pictures. And it was like, my machine over there can only print 150 DPI anyway. Right. So you don't need fine art to wrap the side of your conference wall or the building or wrap your vehicle. It's like, people were spending a lot of money on the wrong things. So.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed that Bertus has a question over there.
Let's see
in the B2B space, should you market different to a small company than an enterprise client? Well, of course. I mean, not all products are going to cross both audiences in that case, but if you have a product or service that does cross both of those, absolutely. I mean, what you offer fulfills certain needs and may be different, most likely is different or look different to both of those clients. So,
and even the reach out. So the terminology that you would use, the vehicle that you're going to deliver the message could be completely different. It's like high-end magazine articles, or maybe it's going to be an SMS campaign for text. You
Right.
might do that on a smaller company. An owner's got a cell phone, for example, on his business card or her business card, and so maybe you're sending those direct those text messages out with an SMS campaign. But maybe on an enterprise company, maybe you're doing something completely different. Like maybe you're buying in on corporate sponsorship. I mean, there could be all kinds of different things that you would do. So the terminology you would use, the audience, the vehicle that you're going to deliver the message, the budget. I mean,
Well, I would think too, even from a small to an enterprise, you may not even be able to get to the actual person. So if you need to talk to the CEO or the owner, your approach has to be completely different to even be able to speak to that right person. So you might have to go through someone else first. So that would definitely require a different approach.
yeah, no doubt. So, Bertus, the good thing that you've done there is you've identified that there's different audiences, and the audiences have different needs. So you're on the right track.
Segmentation.
Yeah, yeah, segmentation. Marketing segmentation is important to gain efficiencies because you can get sloppy and you can shoot 100 arrows, just without aim and hope you hit something, or you could take a little time, aim that sucker, and fire off one really good arrow. So,
Yeah.
I like sniper fire better than skeet shoot personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then social media.
Social media. So I don't know if you had a chance or not to notice, but I made a post today that I'm actually going to use this to talk about because it's a really good example. So the post started out is I woke up to monkeys in my bed and my house was on fire.
So you were here.
So the
I got monkeys too.
That really didn't happen, but my point was to grab your attention, right? And why did it grab your attention? Because the only thing that seems to work or that we think works in social media is shock and awe, right?
Okay.
So if you really pay attention to people, they talk about outrageous things. Everything is dramatic, a life-changing event, and one of the most common you'll see is their outrageous success stories. And it's all how it's spun. But
I
that's
lost 655 pounds in the last 23 minutes.
right. So that's what social media has been about. I personally think social media is about to pivot drastically. And because the consumer is sick of that.
Yeah.
Right? They are sick of being bombarded by emails. They are sick of the free opt-ins. They are just sick of all that stuff. And they're sort of starting to say, I'm not stupid. I'm tired of you sort of treating me that way.
Yeah. Don't treat me like you're selling me something. Treat me like a person.
Right. They want the real people behind the face behind the business. They want that unscripted, unrehearsed, and just raw. That's what they want. And it's going to drive everything. It's happening quickly.
Yeah. Tammy, how many questions did I send you ahead of time for this show?
None.
Right? That's everybody's surprised by that. They're like, aren't you going to send me questions to prep? I'm like, no.
I actually don't like when they send me questions.
Right. I'm like, we're going to have a conversation. We can go wherever it goes. And, we're just going to be real. I do that pretty much with everything I do now. It's like, I know what I want to do and I have a structure for my life, but I love what you just said. And I hate this word just because it's becoming like nauseating, this word authentic. But you know what it really means? It means I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm even going to tell you like I made a mistake when I was 19 or 20 and I failed. And oh my God, I'm only 5'8" and I have buck teeth and I'm a little overweight, probably like 50 pounds overweight, to be honest. Those types of things. I'm bald in case anybody didn't know. But know what I mean? I think that's what people like about me or they don't like about me. But either way, I'm fine because you either like me for who I am or you don't like me for who I am. That's okay with me.
Yeah.
And my business is the same way. We're not perfect. We, just like you, we have people that we like really identify with. Those are our clients. And some of what we help, the people that we help overlap a little bit. I have some women clients. I don't specialize in women. I definitely am more on the service end of the spectrum than I am the e-commerce. But, one of the reasons why people like to use me is this whole social media splash that they get. They hire me. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people will start with me because they're really bad on the social media end.
Yeah.
People don't typically come to me because they need a new logo. At least they don't start there, right?
Yeah.
So
my definition of authenticity is different. Of course, as a person, being authentic means that you're true to yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay. But in the business world, authentic, so they're confusing the two. So
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of people show up without makeup and blah, blah, oh, I'm being authentic. That's not what
That's,
authentic means.
that's not necessarily as authentic as we're talking about. People like put some stuff on. Like
What
I
it
shaved,
really
look, I shaved and I brushed my teeth right before I came on the show just so I would be presentable.
looking beautiful. So authentic to me means that it is true to your brand.
Yep.
And the reason that people are inauthentic is because they don't really understand their brand.
Right.
And so there's a huge disconnect out the door. And this is why they're constantly tripping over themselves. This is why they can't come up with content. It just creates a huge spill off effect. So they're misinterpreting what being authentic means. And it has to do with branding. If you've done power branding work, your everything is outlined for you. And
It
you
causes a bunch of problems too, right, Tammy?
yeah,
So
tons.
the opposite of this is the fake it till you make it crowd. And I'm not so much worried about the fake it till you make it crowd for the personal stuff. It is what it is. But if your business is faking it till it makes it, you're putting your clients in jeopardy because they're trusting that you know this.
Right.
And you're taking their money because quote unquote you know this and then you're faking it. That actually bothers me. And I get a lot of website work after somebody's went with someone else.
Mhm.
And so now they're frustrated because
Yeah.
they fell for somebody's crap one. It's like, you know what? Before I build your website, you and I are going to talk about it. I'm going to show you examples of other ones that I built that are like that. And if
Yeah.
you like it, then we're going to move forward. And if you don't, I'm going to help you find somebody who can build you what you want. But at
Right.
least, you know what I mean? That's me being as real as I can be with folks.
Right. Right.
Up front. Because I have people asking me for things like, honestly, I can't do it. It's not in my wheelhouse. Like, I don't want you to be my guinea pig.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I kind of fought myself for some time.
it froze just for a second there.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I have fiber optic cable here on the mountain, but once in a while it's a little iffy, but I don't complain because at least I have it. I'm in a very remote location.
Nice.
Um,
We'll talk about that in a second, but let's
yeah.
let's
So
wrap up the social media part. What are you doing to help people with the social media? I kind of got you off.
yeah, so I teach people how to be authentic and organic. And I teach simplification. And I actually go against the grain of what most people teach you that you think you need to do. Everyone is overcomplicating it. They're trying to copy and be everyone else instead of just doing what they need to do and get their own little voice out there.
Check this out. This is a brand new client of mine, Miss Kitty Rose. I love her hashtag. It's I am you.
Cute. Very cute.
And that's what she and I had this long conversation. Catherine, I believe it was on Saturday. Maybe it was Friday. Anyways, I think actually it was Friday. So see that we had this conversation. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. We ended up going 90 minutes.
Wow.
I do that a lot.
You guys hit it right off. That's good.
But yeah, that's what it is. It's like, and I'm sure this is with you too. When you get that consult and it's supposed to be 30 minutes and it goes 90 minutes, for me, that's a great sign because it means I use the word vibe. I don't know what word other people use, but like for me, I want to vibe with my clients. And I told her, I was like, look, if my phone rings and it's you and I have to grit my teeth, or and vice versa, when you see something coming for me and you grit your teeth, it's time for us to go away.
Yeah.
So that's why I do this. So anyways, I like her hashtag because it's what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
I am you represents a lot of what you're talking about with this authenticity. I can't say that.
Oh.
I'm trying to say
authenticity.
My dyslexia doesn't allow me to say some of these things that I should be able to say because I'm like, not in the third grade.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. I actually had to fire a client this week. It was the first one I ever had to actually fire. It was really traumatic for me. But it's one of those situations where sometimes my clients tend to be super smart and they've done it all themselves for a long time. Right. So they can't get out of their own way sometimes.
Yeah. That's
the ideology is so strong. Right. So at some point this is where my being truthful comes into play. I have to say, like, I can't help you. You won't let me help you. You won't listen. You're not, so it's unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. But yeah.
I had a client last week. They were referred to me. Most of my business is referrals.
Yeah.
Catherine Moore, and she was referred. I mean, probably 99.9% of my business is referrals. I don't spend any money in advertising at all, which
Yeah.
surprises
I
me.
don't either.
Yeah, so it's all referrals. So, I come in, most of these, they want to hire me. So I'm actually rebuffing people, and I had to do that this week. So what
Mhm.
it was this. They go, okay, we have these leads coming in. We're reaching out to them on LinkedIn and they're connecting. But then we ask for the meeting and they don't respond. It's not that they say no, they just don't respond. And I had diagnosed the issue after some more with what I think the problem is. Again, marketing is about hypotheses, right? So let's start here. And the lady goes, no, that's not it. And they go, well, if you know what it is and what it isn't, what do you need
Oh, yeah.
me for?
Why are you calling me?
You don't need me. I mean, you're gonna pay my
Yeah.
what are you gonna pay my fee for?
Yeah.
So anyways, I politely said, yeah, I don't think we're gonna
Yeah.
be a fit, you know.
Yeah. So sometimes that happens immediately in the conversation, but sometimes,
You
in
find out
reality,
later.
with what I do, clients, they're chameleons in a way, right? Their branding is a mess. That's usually why they're coming to me. So their presence or what you think they are all about isn't actually really who they are. So I'm usually very good at figuring that out. And sometimes even in the process, they grow and change. And, no one ever really wants to do that. And it's funny because one of my peers had talked about doing that like 2 years ago. And I thought, oh my God, why would you do that? But I kind of get it now. I mean, I don't ever really want to have to do that, but it was really in the client's best interest. And that's what I was thinking about was the client. So
It's funny for me. This used to actually materialize in a whole different way when I was a hiring manager. Some of these people, you would interview them. Now I was in sales, right? So I was hiring sales folks. Some of these people, the only thing they could ever sell was himself in an interview.
ooh,
You know what I mean? And I bought it. A professional salesman. I'm falling for the crap. But it's fun. The chameleon thing that you're talking about is definitely something we all deal with, and I think that's partly because in this case, people are in over their head. That's why they need help.
right.
They're saying some of the right things because they're not getting the sales, they're not getting the results that they want. But then what happens? You work with them, and things start to improve. And then what happens? That cocky attitude
That's right.
creeps back in.
They don't
And
listen anymore.
yeah, now you're too good for your own. You can't get
Right.
out of your own way,
Right.
right? That's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so the social
Hi,
media,
my friend. We
yeah, you're right. Yeah, we are on the same page. We connected so long ago, and I was so excited actually that you asked me to come on here. I get asked a lot, and I don't always say yes. So
should say
I
no.
was super
Like,
excited.
for all of you thinking I'm gonna have Ira on, I don't have time for your shows, guys. Like I don't want to, but
Yeah.
I don't have time. And I did the same thing. Like when I went through my guest list and I booked up about 25 shows almost immediately. And then when my transmission blew, I had to send you an apology and say, I'm really sorry. I've got to reschedule this thing, which was tough because I'm already booked through April.
Yeah.
But what happened? One of my clients actually, her dad passed away,
Mm.
and so she's like, "Hey, can we push my show forward because I'm not in the right spot?" And I'm like, "Yes," and that's a blessing. I mean, it's a blessing because I have somebody I need to squeeze back in. And I actually still have one more. I have one more because I actually missed 2 weeks. So I
Oh,
have
wow.
one more. Irina Bosniviet from
Oh, I know her.
from Hint Water. She's going to be on too. But I think with her, what we're going to do, because I don't want to make her wait till May. I think we're actually going to do a marketing Monday on a different day next week, like
Oh, that's a good idea.
a special episode.
Well, yeah, yeah,
You get, I don't know if maybe you're not like this, but I get anxious when I have
yeah,
something that's looming over me. And probably like I try to tell, and Catherine can tell you, and Burtis can tell you too. Like when I'm working with somebody and I give you a deadline, like I want to make that deadline. I will do everything in my power. Like I try to under promise, over deliver. That kind of guy. I'm that
yeah,
guy. So with that interview, it sounds so weird. It's not for money. It's just informational, and this is a social media thing that we do. But I still feel like I got to get it in
yeah,
because it's past due.
yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's talk about marketing tips or branding tips or social media tips. Your dealer's choice. Let's look at some of the things that you see people doing wrong, maybe any emerging things or things that you've noticed lately, because I mean, with COVID, obviously the world changed. Also, I would love to talk about you just moved. You said you bought a mountain.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to hear this story. I think the world would like to hear this story too. So, and you've got like a temporary, you've got like a makeshift,
Yeah.
podcast studio thing going on
Yeah,
because
so I have this weird curtain behind me. I know I'm kind of in a construction zone, so I have to apologize for that. But
oh, I think it's cool. I think
yeah,
it's so
so
cool.
my company is actually much bigger than what you see on LinkedIn. So my company is actually called Futurology, and it's really a lifestyle brand and has three divisions. And it has the branding and the marketing. That's me and my consulting work. And then there is the lifestyle brand. Most people don't know, but I'm an award-winning interior designer. And so yeah, so I'm an artist. I make products. It's all home decor related and that kind of thing. But the third branch of that business was always sort of a pipe dream, and that was to own a lot of land and to be able to create an experiential place where you can actually experience the brand in living, breathing, interaction. And
So
so,
like a hotel type of a thing, or
well, so we literally purchased 30 acres. It's basically almost an entire mountain. And we are in the process of establishing tiny houses and some unique earthen homes. My son is designing and building a Celtic roundhouse and, some other unique elements, because the whole concept of the brand and the lifestyle is that it's from the past. It's
where
all about,
where is this at, Tammy?
it's in Tennessee.
I might have to come visit this place.
Yeah, yeah. So
You
we're
know me. You know me. I'll bring my camera. We'll do some.
yeah,
We'll do some
yeah,
photos.
yeah.
Like Tennessee is beautiful.
It is gorgeous. So we live on this mountain over a river. It's absolutely stunning. It's a nature's playground. And so anyway, that's the sort of the overview of my whole company. And the reason I'm saying that is because I teach people. One of the things I do is take their passion and turn it into a profitable business.
Yeah.
I'm literally doing that. And I was able to do all that and accomplish all of my vision board dreams during a pandemic. Hello. And
Right. Uh
it,
oh.
it's
Yeah.
huge, right?
It
So
froze for a second again. But that's okay.
sorry, yeah. Um, so yeah, so we hope to be taking reservations as soon as April 1st. We are very, very close. So
Oh wow! You
yeah,
sweet.
well, it was raw land, and so it's been a really big challenge. We've gotten really far in 6 months. I'm currently in one of the tiny houses, and there's another one right over there that's just about to get finished up. So that's another thing. But the whole concept around that is to support the arts. So we will have farm to table dinners, we will have gallery showings, we will have film festivals, we will have all of those types of things. That's the bigger picture, and the
Yeah.
goal is to give scholarships and give back to the arts. That's sort of the bigger long
So
term picture.
I'm trying to figure out my next move with Bowman Digital Media
Yeah,
because I'm working out of my home right now with COVID. I mean, it just is what it is. So
yeah,
I've got an office. I share it with my wife.
yeah.
So I'm in like this room that's 18 by 20.
Hmm.
Right? It's not bad, but it's not quiet because like just outside my door is like 6 kids, and they don't have filters. Like Ira's loud and his kids are loud. I mean, go figure,
Yeah.
right? The apples fall apart from the tree. So what I'm thinking about doing, which ties into the tiny house, I'm thinking about putting a tiny house in my backyard
Yeah, I would absolutely.
and using that as my studio
Yeah,
because then I have quiet, but I don't have to buy property. Like I live in the LA area. It's not cheap.
yeah. That's not. Yeah,
So, but then of course I could just rent a place, like lease an office kind of thing. So I thought about that too. But usually those aren't quiet either. So
no.
that's kind of like you don't know what your neighbor's going to do above you, below you, beside you.
Right,
I mean,
right.
so I think the tiny house is kind of the way I'm leaning.
Yeah, it's a great option. It really is.
Yeah. Well, and I've already got the electric and the sewage and all that stuff's already
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
But I could have quiet, and that's
Yeah.
what I really want. It's funny because my photography is all digital, so I don't need like a dark room and
Right.
things like that. But I would like to make everything green for my green screen videos,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's not flying in my office. That's why I haven't. In
Yeah.
full disclosure, if you guys could see behind me, it's Well, actually, it's adjustable. So it'll go up to 10 feet tall. It's probably 8 feet is the
Yeah.
height of it. And then it's supposed to be 10 feet wide. So it's a 10 by 10. But I've got one of the poles missing. So it's like 7.5 feet wide, if you could see it. But it's a curtain rod, basically. It's a giant curtain rod. I mean, they have fancy names for these stands. But,
Yeah.
you get these things printed on fabric, and they've got a pole pocket at the top, and you slide it through so I can have one. But I've got green, blue, white, black for photography and videos, and then I've got this one obviously that I use as a backdrop because why I want to advertise why.
Yeah.
So I want the world to know I'm Bowman Digital Media, and not be like too much in your face. But you notice they kind of like split me equidistance. I mean that wasn't an accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Attention to details, but
so my big tip. So that was kind of what you asked me, and I got a little off track with that because.
Yeah, but I think the mountain story is fascinating. I think that is.
And it's really important because it really does. When you think about it, it connects completely with what I do. Because again, I'm taking someone's passion, I'm helping them figure out what that is, I'm helping them package that into a sellable offer, and then I'm building them a profitable business based on what they love. So I'm just showing them how that works. But it's super important because my big tip, and this is where I feel like so many entrepreneurs fail, is that they are focused on the making money part.
The revenue. Yep.
They are not thinking about, well, I love to do this. They're not connecting the two. And until you do that, you are not living, you're just surviving.
Right. The secret sauce is connecting the passion. It's got to connect the passion because like I said last night on my birthday on a Sunday night, I mean, actually, it was the whole Sunday, basically. I was working, but it was not punishment. I was not miserable. I had a smile on my face. I was happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I took some pictures. You can actually see the pictures of me making crazy faces on my wife's Facebook. Anyways, we had a good time, but it's because I love it. And that's, so when I was deciding my business, the secret sauce that you're sharing, the tip that you're sharing is make sure that you love it first.
Yeah, yeah.
You can figure out how to monetize it later. You got to start with the foundation it's got to be something totally right.
And so my passion, one of the things that I do is I help, ironically, this was something that came out in what I do, but I actually that helps people figure out how to connect with that passion.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ironic how I even got there, because what a lot of people don't realize is that I went back to school later in life to even further my knowledge and education. And that's where I took global branding and I did psychology and I really tied in a lot of other things there, even though I was already a marketing director.
You're already doing good. Yeah. Yeah. So I love this experience that you've created because I have a feeling that people can come get away from the distractions of life and get in touch with their passion.
Yeah.
Almost like you didn't have that in mind when you created this.
There's some bigger things coming down the road. Right now, we're just so focused on, I have a waiting list of clients, so I'm busy with my clients. And then we've added in this, I'm trying to develop this bigger picture here. So
you needed more crap to do.
Right. So that's, I said I was quiet on LinkedIn. Well, that's kind of why I've been super, super busy. And it's also sort of a beta test. Again, a lot of what I do is me practicing what I preach. I'm constantly testing and pushing the limits because I believe that it's simplification that really works. It's not.
I'm gonna tell people as just another tip. If you want to know if you're talking to a marketing person, how many times do they use the word beta test? Because if you talk to them for 48 minutes and they never say the word beta or testing, then you probably not really talking to a marketing person. You're probably talking to a graphics.
Right. You need to run. Not
a marketing.
Right. You need to run.
It's all about the testing.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I get you. I get it. Okay. So what mistake? So we talked about the foundational mistake, which is, I don't understand why people get into plumbing and they hate it. They're like, oh, I just wanted to make a lot of money.
Right. It's kind of like your parents told you to be an accountant because they make a lot of money. I don't know, I'm making that up.
No, I get you. I totally get you.
It just goes, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do. And then all of a sudden at 50, he goes, I'm miserable. Well, yeah, because you really want to be, I don't know, a photographer or something, So yeah,
So
super.
one of the things about, remember the welding rod
Hmm.
story, the
Hmm.
failure? One of the reasons why I let that go is because I was not passionate about selling welding rods. Like, I figured out I was in over my head. I was in a bad position. I didn't have good leverage to compete, and it was not something that lit my fire. Like, the idea of running a successful business was more exciting to me than the idea of doing welding rod sales. And that's why I let it go. But I learned a lot from it. So that's probably where I first started to figure out that it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. And it's
Right.
not how you do it, it's what you do. So, you know, I think the other thing that I see people doing, it's just like what you said. They're so worried about the money part that they forget about what they love part. But here's the where I'm going with this. You need personal development time. You need
Hmm.
time for yourself.
Hmm.
So if you haven't figured out, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? And how do you recharge your own batteries? I think that's the other thing that people honestly in business are missing.
Mm.
You know, as a business owner, manager, whatever, like if you're not an employee where you're punching the time clock and they dictate when you start, when you stop. Because I was telling this to my daughter. She's in college for marketing. She's my intern right now. She's gonna work. Her idea is to come work for dad when she's done, which I think a lot of kids have, and then they graduate and they go do whatever they're gonna do for
Yeah.
real. But,
Yeah.
that's the safety net, right? I can work for dad if I want. Yeah, you can work for me as long as you can find billable hours. I told her, I said, look, I said, I don't have a time clock. I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid by the contract. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So I said, you gotta enjoy this thing, but also in that, I have to take time away and I have to recharge. I'm an introvert, in case you're curious, right? For those of you who don't know, what does that mean? That means I can't recharge my batteries in a room full of people. I have to be. Remember that soundproofing? Why that's so important to me?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that's I can recharge without the noise. I wear these most of the day. What are these? You might ask. These are shotgun glasses or
Yeah.
earmuffs for shooting, but I wear them. It doesn't completely drown out all the sound, but it muffles the sound quite a bit, and
Yeah.
that helps me brings all the noise a little down. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my that's my tip is figure out if you guys are watching and you haven't done this yet. Figure out if you're an introvert, extrovert. Figure out how you recharge your batteries, and then figure out a way to incorporate that into your life. It'll make you happier. I'm going to let you share some tips now. And it can be on anything you want. You can just tell us the tip and how it'll help, and that'll be cool.
Well, so one of my big tips is that we hear it all the time, but really being able to internalize it is really difficult. And that is that you need to stop copying. And it's super hard in social media, right? Because you see
Imposter
Steve
syndrome.
and Bob and you see all these people and you're going, well, they're doing this and I can do that and I need to do this and I need to do that. And in actuality, you're much better off if you completely shut it all out. Now, I'm not saying ignore your competitors. Obviously, you need to keep a sort of a loose eye on what's going on so that you're relevant, but you need to be your own person and be different. When you're copying everyone else, you're just becoming average. You become white noise and
Yeah.
you're irrelevant. And so they're so desperate that they're literally copying. This is a great example. So I'm very active on Facebook and both LinkedIn. But you'll see the free, I don't know, free social media content, and everybody downloads this free white sheet, whatever. And so
Right.
and it's prompts for your content, and so then you see everyone is literally using the same exact prompt. I mean, it really makes you look dumb. I'm
It
sorry.
really does. And I think that what people are missing out on, Tammy, is like, okay, so you're talking about in the DMs and even in posts, but I see the same, I mean, word for word besides the signature. Same message, probably 10 times, if not 15 to 20 times per day.
Yep.
And most of these aren't even from them, they're automated.
Yeah.
So
Worst
sometimes
thing in the world. Stop
the
doing
name,
automated. Stop doing automated DMs. Just stop it altogether.
right,
You're making yourself look like a complete fool. I mean, I will be so adamant and talk about this endlessly. It is the worst thing that you can do. You are accomplishing absolutely nothing except
Well, it's worse. I think it's worse than that. You're actually you're eroding, you're deteriorating any shot you had with me by sending me something that I know is sent to mass.
yeah,
And all you did was had a robot change the name because I want to deal with people.
right.
And you said this earlier. You think a revolution is coming, and I agree, because people want to deal with people, and they want to deal with people who are not phony. They're not, snake oil salesmen.
Right.
So if you want my business in this world, you better be willing to invest some time developing and establishing a relationship with me. Otherwise, we're not going to be compatible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've started sending people in tongue in cheek, but I'm serious with
Oh, I
this.
flat out tell them.
Yeah, I've started sending a response saying, if you would like to learn how to sell better,
Yeah.
visit irabowman.com, sign up for a lesson. I'll teach you how to get better results.
Now
And
that
I started doing it facetiously at first, but I'm like, seriously, they need it. Because how many people are they pissing off? So you'll get the person who says, yeah, but I'm making a sale a week because of this. Okay, but how many are you costing yourself? What's
right,
the
but wait a minute, wait here. Here's the bigger point. How much time and energy did it take? Right? I don't do any of that, and I have a waiting list. So there's a big right.
Right.
F-
You don't need to reach the masses. And when I do finally reach out to you, because obviously it's going to be slower, and
right.
it might take years. But when I reach out to you, you know what I didn't do? I didn't burn your bridge. Did not burn a bridge.
Yeah. So the other thing is I get a lot of the same message that says, don't you want 10 to 30 new leads a week? No. No. And if anybody wants that many leads, there's a problem.
You know
Right?
what I think is funny about those? Let me ask you this question. If you were going to buy leads from somebody, would you buy leads from somebody who had to cold call to, you know what I mean?
That's
Like
not
if they were really that good at generating leads, just like I think you and I are pretty good at what we do. I never ever send cold calls, email. I don't do that.
never.
I don't need to. You know why? Because the work I do is good and the people I do it for send their friends my way.
Mhm.
And I interview people to work with me, not the other way around.
So
So
yeah.
if I was needing a company to generate leads for me, I wouldn't go to the company that sent me a cold blind email saying, hey, we're really good at leads. You know what I do? I'd ask around and I'd say, hey, who's using a lead source that's good?
Right.
That's what I would do. I think it's funny that these guys claim to be these experts in lead source generation when
Well,
exactly what they're doing is 100% the opposite of what I think is effective.
I think I'm frozen again. But the whole problem there is that they're selling the list as leads, but in actuality, there's a big difference between prospects and leads. Big
100%.
difference, big difference.
100%.
So it's a complete misrepresentation out the door. It blows my mind. It really just is mind boggling to me.
Yeah. Well, and I actually know a good company for lead gen. They do it a whole different way.
Mhm.
It's called Lift Certain. If you guys want to check them out, Lift Certain it's a whole different process. And anyways, that's one. If I was going to use a service to get prospects, not leads, let's classify it correctly.
Yeah.
For prospect finding, I would use a company called Lift Certain. You and I can talk about that offline if you'd like about what they do and why I like it. But they have a very neat product. Let's just say that.
Cool.
So I like that. But
There is a big need for that, and there are
there
a
is,
lot of
there
people
is
who
big
benefit
business.
from
Big,
that.
it's big
Sure.
business. Now, this one, what I like about this one, I'll just share it online. I guess. Okay, of course, I'm going to give them a free commercial, but they have a product that allows them to kind of keep tabs on who's visiting your competition's website
Mhm.
because of the free information that's out there.
Mhm.
And they can send you a report with all this information, these data points. Now you can reach out to them because
Right.
you know they're in the market, which is what they call this product in the market.
Right.
And so, you're not necessarily going to say, hey, I know you visited XYZ website, but you can now start to have your sales team or a drip campaign of whatever for with your marketing efforts and reach out with some confidence because they've been looking recently at that type of product or service website. So
Yeah.
that's the idea that they use. But anyways, it's called Live Certain again if you guys are interested.
Nice. Sounds like a good product.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, I know of it because I know people that use it, and I actually know somebody who works there now, and we became friends. And so, I have confidence in referring those to folks, but I
There it
never,
is. The
I never,
people. There
I
it
never,
is.
yeah,
People.
I never got a cold call. I never got a cold call email. You know, what I mean? Like, hey, we're gonna send you 20 leads a day for $15 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyways. All right, so let's do some wrap up here.
Okay.
Anybody is looking for branding, marketing, social media
Mhm.
assistance, especially if you're a woman-owned business, if you're
Yeah,
having trouble getting out of first or second gear,
yeah.
Tammy will help you figure out. She'll help
Mhm.
you diagnose the problem. She can help you figure out what's going on with your branding, your marketing, your social media, so she can elevate your game. What is the best way for them to get a hold of you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it an email?
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn or even Facebook. The social aspects. Of course, they can go to my website.
Yeah.
Again, the
TammyLCollins.com. Let me just put that back up so people
Yeah.
can.
I always do a free 30-minute consultation because I believe in, just as much as they're checking me out, I'm checking them out, right? Is it a good
Two-way
fit?
interview. Yeah, it's a two-way interview for
A
sure.
two-way interview. So I always do that for free. And I always, sometimes people reach out to me and I give them genuine tips, like you need to go do this, this, and this now, and then come back to me. Or so it's a value packed session, and it's a great way to get to know me and let me hear about your challenge because maybe I'm not the right fit for you.
Yeah,
Maybe you need maybe you need someone else, and so I will refer in that case.
yeah. I think that's why I like you so much. Real people doing real things, and it's
Right.
not chasing dollars just for dollars. It's we're trying to earn our living the right way.
That's right.
All right, parting wisdom. Another nugget, just one more
Another
nugget.
nugget. Another nugget.
Dealer's choice,
All
anything
right.
you want.
Here it is. Here it is. This applies to everyone, even myself. We are in our own jar,
Mhm.
and we have no idea how we're perceived. You might think you make fabulous chocolate chip cookies, but in fact, you may make decadent brownies. And most entrepreneurs fail because they're going with their chocolate chips and could be completely wrong. And there's no way. You have to get help to see the jar from the outside,
Yeah.
period. And until you admit that and do that, you will spin your wheels over and over and over and over again.
Independent observations and intellect and experiences can help you immensely. Break the jar and blow that ceiling up.
Yep.
Okay, Tammy, you're super smart. This hour is gone. I mean, we're actually
Wow.
we're in
Already?
over,
Jeez.
yeah, we're in overtime. This is ridiculous because I have 7,000 more things I'd like to ask you. Maybe if you're not opposed to it, I'll come back to you and we'll do this again. I think you have a lot more to share. And,
Sure. Yeah. I got
I want
lots.
to I want to check in on this new venture of yours and see
Yeah.
how you're doing. And seriously, one day I want to come out there with my camera and spend some time.
Absolutely. You are more than welcome. I'd love to meet your wife and your kids. I would love it. And
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
love to come back. I've got a lot of things on the back burner. I'm about to really shake things up a bit. So
cool. Well, I'm going to support you on LinkedIn too. So look for us. If you haven't connected with Tammy on LinkedIn, send her a connection request. Tell her you saw her on Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman, so she knows that she didn't waste her time, and so she knows why you want to connect with her. Because I think that's always important. Like, just if you send somebody a connection request and you don't tell us why, it's like, well,
yeah, relationship.
yeah, I'm here. I'm here for the people, and so is Tammy. That's why we
Yeah.
get along. Tammy, thank you so much. Y'all, if you don't know, you can find me, of course, at bowmandigitalmedia.com. That is how I pay my bills. So check me out there. This show airs every Monday, except for when my transmission blows up on me. Oh, that doesn't happen again. But we come on at 11 o'clock Pacific time. We come on at 2 p.m. Eastern. This episode, if you missed any of it or any of the other episodes, you can always catch them at bowmandigitalmedia.com/marketing Mondays. We share this on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We also share the audio version on Anchor and StreamYard. It lives as a blog too, Tammy. It lives as a blog on my website. So if
Great.
you would like a copy of that, you can, the transcript, I can send it to you. You can use it however you like.
Awesome.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining. We're going to
Yeah.
turn the music back on and bounce out of here. But I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you again hopefully next week. Have a great day, everyone. BowmanDigitalMedia.com.